Through my YouTube video comment sections, I noticed that this is a reoccurring thing that people keep asking me. How long is the brain fog going to last? When's it going to go away? What can I do to make it better? And that's exactly what we're going to address in today's video. Brain fog after quitting weed or drinking alcohol, using nicotine, whatever addiction it is you're giving up. So first, we're going to cover the causes of brain fog. And after I talk about each cause, I'm going to provide you with a solution. When we quit smoking weed or quit vaping nicotine, stress tends to be a major problem for people, especially early on in the process. Yes, to some extent, you are losing potentially one of your coping mechanisms. So all of the stress that was there prior to your addiction is still going to be there, whether it's work stress, relationship stress, financial stress, whatever that may be. And now on top of it, in some individuals, if you haven't been with us for a while, this might apply to you. You also have the stress of quitting an addiction mentally, the stress of potentially giving something up, which we always tell people on this channel, you're not giving up anything. But for those of you that are under the impression you are giving something up, you're going to have a lot of mental stress. And then, of course, there's the physiological stress of going through a detox and withdrawal process on your body. Stress is a major trigger of brain fog in people. What can you do to manage stress? I think things like deep breathing are awesome. Meditation is awesome. Exercise, that one is really, really key when it comes to brain fog. And I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit. And then, of course, I like things like talk therapy. People work with our offices for coaching. You may have a therapist in your area that you're choosing to work with. Any of those things that can help you manage the stress are going to go a really, really long way. When it comes to managing the physical stress, personally, I always found going to a hot sauna, going to an infrared sauna, if you have the financial ability, going to get a massage, heck, even getting a chiropractic adjustment releases some norepinephrine and adrenaline back in your system, and that might help with the withdrawal stress too. That's a stretch. Another big issue that we run into when we're quitting vaping or quitting weed products, we're messing, in the case of nicotine, with norepinephrine and adrenaline. So every time we consume it, we get a burst of adrenaline and norepinephrine. And those are neurotransmitters that sharpen our senses and provide momentary mental clarity and crispness, okay, in our thinking. When we quit nicotine, we're not getting those little bursts anymore. Doing and partaking in activities that release norepinephrine and adrenaline are going to go a really long way. We're going to talk about focusing on sleep. That's a really big thing for that. Exercise is another really simple thing. Listening to new and exciting music or music that stimulates you releases norepinephrine and adrenaline. This is a great thing. Me personally, I started to seek out higher adrenaline activities. For me, that wound up being target shooting, right? The loud bang of a firearm. I got a goal. I have something I need to focus on, aiming at a target. Early on in the process, that was great. That combined with exercise were probably the two most effective things for me snapping out of brain fog. When you quit smoking weed, or especially in the case of nicotine, you want to partake in norepinephrine or adrenaline increasing activities. Now, many times that's hard because when we quit, we might be struggling with a little bit of increased depression at first, or anhedonia, that lack of joy in activities. And that's very, very common when you first quit an addiction. Those are very common withdrawal symptoms. And I've made videos on those in the video description below that you can check out at the end of this one. And that makes it hard to get up and get out of bed and go do things. The more you just lay around, the less activities that you're partaking in, chances are the worse and worse that brain fog is going to become. Once you're past maybe the first week or two, is a great time to start getting involved in new social groups, different ways of socialization. Heck, video games and talking to your friends online can even stimulate adrenaline and norepinephrine and dopamine, and can even help with some of the brain fog to an extent. Another big issue that people run into that causes brain fog is dietary related stuff. When I first quit smoking weed, I was pretty malnourished. I just didn't have any nutrients in my body at that point. And then I started eating a lot of junk food. Focusing on foods that are going to be high in healthy omega fatty acids. This would be things like grass-fed, grass-finished beef. This would be like free-range, pasture-raised eggs, fish products, salmon, or just fish, fatty fish products, anchovies, sardines. I don't think you guys are going to be eating those necessarily. Things where you can find omega-3 fatty acids are going to be really good for your brain and really good for this healing process. The more processed foods you're eating, the more sugar and junk that you're eating all day long, or if you're just not eating at all and you're depriving yourself of micro and macronutrients, that's going to make the brain fog a lot worse. Your brain needs vitamins and minerals to function, and your brain needs proteins, and it definitely needs healthy fats for optimal functioning. And if you're not giving it those things, the brain fog is going to be a lot worse. Not to mention too, and this is often a thing that leads to relapse, remember to keep an eye on your blood sugar levels, especially for those of you guys quitting cigarettes or nicotine products, and arguably cannabis, because cannabis impacts your endocannabinoid system, and that has an impact on blood glucose levels. So I usually recommend to people focus on eating like fresh whole fruits when you're done. I loved like frozen blueberries and strawberries. I liked bananas. I loved frozen cherries. That little burst in blood sugar you get is going to help to limit the brain fog, or at least snap you out of the brain fog. One of my favorite things to do, I'd eat some fruit, I'd go to the gym. And that was like one of the best things I did for brain fog. When it comes to your withdrawal symptoms from nicotine and cannabis, chances are you're experiencing some insomnia and you're not sleeping well. And poor sleep patterns definitely increase brain fog. Not sleeping definitely increases the amount of physiological stress on your body, which also increases brain fog. Not sleeping decreases willpower and kind of makes it harder to eat healthier. The less sleep we have, like if you've ever been hungover, there's like a chance that you're going to just start craving crappier food. Less sleep impacts multiple aspects of our life that can negatively influence brain fog. Try your best to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day and start developing healthy sleep patterns. And I know early on in the quitting process, for the first few weeks, your sleep is probably going to be garbage. Just by understanding that poor sleep can lead to brain fog, and just by understanding what's going on, and that eventually your sleep is going to get better, and when your sleep improves, chances are your brain fog is going to improve a lot more. You're going to feel a lot better about that situation. Lack of movement is another really big issue. The more that we're just sitting inside, scrolling on our phones, not exercising, not getting up and moving, is going to lead to more brain fog. So if you can, work out. I'd recommend just looking up some simple yoga videos to do at home. Yoga is almost like a combination of physical exercise with a moving meditation. Oftentimes after I would exercise, especially early on in the process when the brain fog was really bad, I was into cold showers. I would work out and I'd throw myself in a cold shower or a really warm shower. Just something to kind of shock my system, especially when I had CHS. The hot showers were definitely feeling a lot better than cold ones. But just anything to shock your system, get that adrenaline release, get that release of norepinephrine, and bring you back to reality and snap you out of that brain fog for a minute is going to go a really long way. My last piece of advice when it comes to brain fog would be engaging in hobbies or activities that stimulate your brain. So things you enjoy. For me, again, that was target shooting. For you, it might be drawing, making music, making art, producing music, singing. I'm not exactly sure, but try and engage in stimulating activities for yourself. Read books. Reading and engaging in things like puzzles or stuff that just challenges you to think is going to go a really, really long way. For me, that was a combination of reading and upping my work, getting better at writing emails, getting better at making videos, things that challenge and stimulated my brain were another way that I would snap out of the brain fog. But if I was just sitting at home, doing nothing, getting in my head, not moving, eating crappy, not trying to sleep, staying up all night, scrolling social media, watching adult media content, then trying to function the next day, the brain fog was always 1,000 times worse. It usually gets better. Give it, I don't know, the first 3 months. Don't cast too much judgment too early on. All right, guys, I hope this helps you out. Follow me into the comments below and let me know where the brain fog